Hi there, welcome to the Autism, Anxiety and Sleep Masterclass. I'm the founder of VC Sleep Consultancy and I specialise in infant, child and autism sleep strategies. As you can see, you've got my email there, you've got my website there and my phone number. So if you've got any questions whatsoever, please feel free to get in touch. Welcome to the Autism, Anxiety and Sleep Masterclass. As I mentioned before, my name's Vicky and I'm really excited that you've chosen to come on this journey with me. Hopefully this class will introduce you to autism and anxiety, and as parents and carers you may be just at that point where you're trying to discover a little bit more about autism, or that you want to find out specifics about how to help your child get to sleep. And this should help you and guide you to get some idea of how you can start doing that. So my knowledge is here to help you. I was a teacher for 16 years and I've worked and specialised within autism and anxiety. My work led me to gain multiple qualifications in autism and anxiety, and I do feel that it's so important that everyone has access and those key facts and knowledge about whether your child's autistic or has high anxiety. Nobody should be left out of that. In addition to my professional experience and my qualifications, I also have first-hand experience. My own son, who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 5, and I feel really passionate that every professional, parent or carer has that opportunity to learn some of the essential things in order to see positive progress and results, especially when it comes to sleep. So just to start with, for those who might just be starting out on this journey with their child, what is autism? Well, did you know that 1 in every 64 children have identified with or have been diagnosed with autism? The number is likely to be much higher as many people are not yet diagnosed. There is not just one type of autism. Autism, or autism spectrum disorder, ASD, refers to a broad range of conditions. These may include challenges with social skills, repetitive behaviours, speech difficulties and impairments, and non-verbal communication. Autism and anxiety often go hand in hand, and it's really important that we recognise this when working with our children and helping them. As a parent or carer, it is also important to have knowledge of ASD and be able to refer to those characteristics when we're looking for long-term solutions, such as sleep disturbances or challenging behaviour, and often they can be linked. Autism, with scientific research, started back in the mid-60s, but it was really limited, and even today the research is so narrow and far from over. There is an estimated to be 1 in 4 children to be undiagnosed still in today's society. So research is paramount. It needs to be pushed forward so much more than it already is. So let's talk about learning difficulties or disabilities. Autistic people can have different degrees of learning disability, which can affect all aspects of their lives, from studying in school to personal care, or even to make a simple meal. Some autistic people will be able to live independently, while others might require lifelong specialist support. Some autistic people do not have accompanying learning disabilities, but they might still have specific learning difficulties such as dyslexia. These also need to be taken into account when considering the right sleep method for your child. Some of the common characteristics of autism: communication difficulties, uncomfortable with eye contact, difficulty expressing their feelings, difficulty actually understanding their feelings and understanding that those big things, those big feelings that they have every day when they go into school, when they come home from school, at the weekends, when you go out on a trip, even when you're going to do day-to-day activities such as going to the shop, things like that. Overloading of sensory feelings can really help, really be quite difficult for an autistic child to comprehend and understand within themselves. A learning disability sometimes or quite often will run alongside autism. Anxiety is very common and commonly linked with autism too. They might have transition difficulties from, for example, home to school or school to home, or from home to going out to the playground and then coming back. So that's where we see lots of difficulties in, for example, coming away from the playground when they really struggle to make that transition. Sensory difficulties. Might be really apparent social difficulties as well. They might have some special interests. So, for example, they might really fixate or really love on one particular thing, such as trains, or it might be unicorns, or it might be board games. It could be a number of things, or it could be just one specific thing. And they could absolutely love it. And so they might want things over and over again. For example, if it's their birthday or Christmas, they might just want a train set every single birthday and every single Christmas. And it's a special interest that they absolutely love, and that's where they thrive with. So it's really important to recognise that although you might feel like you're buying the same thing over and over again, actually it's not about what we feel as a parent or carer and thinking, oh, it's a waste of money, we're buying, a different version of what you've already got. It's not so much about that, it's actually about that child's journey and that child's learning and their special interest developing. On the other side, we've got anxiety signs to look out for. So if you aren't sure about this and your child is suspected to be autistic or already has a diagnosis of autism, you might want to look out for signs for anxiety as well. So you might see some unexplained stress. You might see triggers that might not actually be obvious. You might want to avoid certain situations that sort of raise that stress level and anxiety level for your child. Your child might feel uncomfortable in certain situations, whether it's crowded situations, whether it's loud, noisy situations, environments. You might pick up some telltale signs that they're feeling uncomfortable. They might feel upset, and you might not see a real reason for that, but for them it's very real. Stress levels can be really high. They might not want to join in or even talk or communicate with somebody else or other people. They may not want to interact socially. So that might be they might not want to because they're feeling really uncomfortable and they're having maybe a sensory overload. Or it could be that they don't know how to interact socially. It might not be a choice. It might be something that they aren't aware of how to do it yet. So looking at the balancing act, well, when thinking what is the best sleep method for your child, who might have been diagnosed with autism, or you suspect to be autistic, or you suspect that they have high anxiety, we have to make sure our expectations are realistic and balanced. That is so important. And as part of the sleep routine, you need to consider how to make reasonable adjustments and create realistic expectations so you don't set your child up to fail. There is nothing worse than speaking to somebody, somebody else in the playground, another parent, for example, and they've said, I don't know, something like this particular method, sleep methods work brilliantly, you should try it for your child. And then you go and try it for your child and it has the totally opposite effect. It just doesn't work. And you might have tried multiple sleep methods, sleep training methods, and you've just not seen any success. And to be fair, if your child is diagnosed or you suspect they've got autism and high anxiety, there is definitely a reason for that, and you'll definitely need some specialist support and advice in really tailor making that package for your child. And it's because the stuff you read on the internet, the advice you get from other parents that may not have an autistic child or a child with high anxiety, is because their child might fit into sort of the regular sleep training methods that they might work beautifully for that child, and that's great, that's absolutely brilliant, but for your child that might not be the case. So it's really important that you don't feel disheartened when these methods aren't working. It's not you, it's nothing you've done wrong whatsoever. It's simply because the knowledge isn't there yet. You aren't aware of the specialist techniques that need to be implemented for a sleep package for your child. So you might be asking questions such as, what adjustments should I be making for successful results? Why do I have to make adjustments? So as part of my sleep packages anyway, I use scientific based knowledge to support what we do and what we learn. It's so important, and without it you are setting yourself up to fail, really, and you're setting your child up with expectations that aren't realistic. So it's so important that we have honest, real, scientific evidence to back up the packages, the sleep methods that are suitable for your child. You might be thinking about, well, why do routines actually need to be so rigid? But consistency is so important with any child, but is ultra important for somebody who is autistic. How do I manage expectations for myself or others? Well, firstly, the most important thing is expectations on yourself. Forget about other people's expectations. They haven't got your life. They're not living what you're living. Their children are not your children. They aren't experiencing the same things you're experiencing. So please don't measure yourself up against somebody else who has a child who sleeps through the night. Like I've mentioned, or will mention, that children with autism struggle with sleep. It is so common, but there are things to be put in place that have been specifically looked at and designed for your child. Okay, so it's managing your own expectations and forgetting expectations of others, because what's really important is your child is the center of what we want. We want that progress for your child, not your neighbors' expectations, not your friends, not your family's expectations, but yours and your child's. How long will this take to work? And that's a common question I get asked. It can have quite a quick turnaround, to be honest. It all depends on your child's personality, their understanding, the development, their processing. But at the end of the day, it does work. That's what we really want to know. Does it work? And yes, it does. And you will see improvements. And when we come back to expectations, a small step for your child in the right direction is actually a huge step for us as parents, as carers. A small step means so much, and with lots of multiple small steps, you will see that end goal happen. Absolutely. But with an autistic or anxious child, those steps might be small paces, and that's absolutely fine. What we're looking for, the key is that we see improvements, and those small improvements will add up to the big goal. So autism, anxiety and sleep. When it comes to sleep, we all know how important it is to get the recommended amount of hours each night, yeah? But what happens when the sleep methods you have tried don't actually work for your child and they just aren't getting enough sleep still? It's really worrying. Well, have a look at this chart. Autistic children are at a greater risk of experiencing mental health issues. Even mild sleep deprivation can result in the following increases. So we've got a huge increase on impulse control issues that we might see with our child, very apparent with autistic children. We've got a much higher risk of anxiety. So it's like a vicious circle. Your child's not getting enough sleep, because we now know that autistic children do struggle with sleep. At a greater, higher amount of children struggle with sleep. And therefore, if they're struggling with sleep, the anxiety has got a much higher risk of coming in. So we're not just dealing with autism, we're dealing with high anxiety. Both factors cause significant or has a significant impact on sleep. You might see higher aggression, a risk of depression is massively increased, and we might see concentration problems as well. So what we need to be aware of, that although our child may be diagnosed or suspected to be autistic, their concentration problems, yes, is a common characteristic with autistic children, but we need to also consider how much of that concentration is being affected by their sleep or them not having enough sleep. So you can start getting a picture of this circle that goes round and around and around, and we need to break that circle, and sleep is the key factor in this. One of the facts can be or is sleep routines need to be adjusted to suit somebody with ASD or anxiety. That is a fact. Generic sleep method, just normally 9 times out of 10, just aren't going to work for your child. And that's why so many parents and carers try so many different things and end up feeling like a sense of real failure. And I just need to reiterate to you that it's not you at all. It really isn't. It's just you haven't found the right technique for your child. That's all it is. Up to 80% of people with autism struggle with sleep. And that's when I was saying earlier that it's commonly linked. Lack of sleep with autism is linked greatly. And that's a fact. And again, there's things that we need to put in place before you can even think about improving your child's sleep. So as part of my sleep packages, I look at the whole bundle. I don't just look at your 7 till 7 sleep. It's just not enough. We need to look at everything from the 24-hour clock, basically. With routines, we need to look at anxiety, we need to look at implementing structure, we need to look at what's already in place, what works, what doesn't work. There is so much depth. We need to look at sensory issues. There's just so much depth to it, and that's probably why generic sleep methods aren't working for your child. Autism can affect melatonin levels and the circadian rhythm. So for you already clued up on melatonin, you might have heard about it quite a lot. It's actually a natural hormone that every single person produces. And you produce it towards the evening hours, and it helps you drift off naturally into a lovely calm sleep. With people with autism, frequently their melatonin levels aren't producing enough. Your brain's not producing enough melatonin for the evening, and that's why we see children struggling to fall asleep. They are twitchy, they're fidgety. You think you've ran your child miles, and you think they should be shattered, but they appear to be wide awake, fidgety, can't focus, can't get down to sleep, and you're sat there going, why aren't they tired? They should be shattered by now. In all honesty, they are. Their bodies are so shattered, but their brain will not allow them to switch off. So they appear to be wide awake. But reality is it's complete opposite. They are exhausted and desperate for sleep, and it's absolutely heartbreaking to see. And that's why we discuss melatonin as well. And I like to make sure every parent, carer, client is well informed on what melatonin really actually is, and that it is a natural hormone that we produce naturally. Circadian rhythm is our natural body clock. So it's naturally when at night time our body naturally sort of starts getting sleepy, starts falling asleep. And then when it's light daylight hours, our body feels awake. So that again, with autistic children can be completely off. And that's why we sometimes see waking nights and they are wide awake. So again, it's something very specialist knowledge, and there is so much more information about it. And again, you can drop me an email, give me a phone call, or book in a discovery call with me. Feel absolutely free to do any of those, and I'm more than welcome to go through this evidence with you as well and go into a lot more depth, very specifically about your child, because every child is so different. So the star of this show and how to help. So as a parent or carer, it is paramount that you are comfortable and confident to help support your child who might be waiting for or already does have a diagnosis. You essentially are the star of this show. You are in control. Okay, so remember that when trying sleep methods, it's a good idea to do research or book a sleep package via my website, or a discovery call to find out accurate information before trying it out. Otherwise, you're going to be in this trial and error situation, and 9 times out of 10, like I said, stuff you're going to find on the internet, stuff you're going to find from word of mouth, generic information, stuff that's helped other parents, normally isn't going to work for you and your child. But by all means, absolutely, trial and error. It's not a problem at all. You do whatever works best for you. But you do want to be in a position where your knowledge is sound and reliable. And it's good to remember traditional sleep methods often don't work for autistic children. And that's actually why very little success is made. And we just get so frustrated to the point where we give up. I don't want you to be in that situation where you're giving up, because there is a solution out there. There is so much help, and there is so many ways that actually do work. It does work. We just need to find that right, that bespoke, that specific way forward for your child. The other thing to think about is sensory needs. So just a little hint and tip for you guys. Sensory needs need to be considered when bed routine is being created. So things to look out for are, if you go into their room, is lighting in the room? Is it too bright? Is the lighting distracting? Like a night light, for example, is it distracting for that child? Is it too dark? Do they feel uncomfortable just being in that room? There are distractions you need to be thinking about. Teddies, posters, objects that look out of place for the child. So it may not look out of place for us as parents and carers, as an adult. We might not think twice about it, but it's really important to get feedback from your child, because what doesn't bother us might really bother them. And it could be something as simple as a teddy facing them the wrong way. And that can stop them sleeping or make them so anxious that they wake up multiple times in the night. Sounds as well, you need to consider, is there a constant sound to create stability and predictability? For example, a fan, is it, because a fan or a white noise machine is a continuous sound. There are certain things I would recommend, and be more than happy to go through it, with your specific child's needs and personality in a discovery call or a package. That's absolutely fine. But just to make you aware, make you start thinking about a sound and noise that is constant and it's predictable for your child. If you live by a busy road, for example, the constant sound of cars coming past all the time, again, it's going to be different sounds, different noises. It's going to be stopping, starting, and that's not continuous sound. It's stopping and starting. So that's going to be a distraction for your child and quite off-putting. So it's just things to be aware of. Touch as well. A fabric, some pajamas, their duvet, is it actually comfortable for them? It's something we don't often think about. Different duvet covers, for example, have different textures and are made out of different materials. So it's really maybe worthwhile just getting your child to feel the material and thumbs up or thumbs down whether they like it, because it can be something small like that is a really easy fix. But imagine a scratchy material for them on them all night is obviously going to stop them sleeping very well. So it could be something really quick fix like that. So just check those things tonight with them. Just check, they are comfortable in their room and their surroundings, because you might get a few quick fixes and a few things that might just help that sleep immediately. All right. Get fast and long-term results. So are you someone who is struggling to get your child down to sleep at bedtime? Does your child have constant waking nights? Are you confused why sleep methods aren't working for your child? And anything else sleep related? Well, let's get this sorted today. Get your evening backs. Reduce that anxiety for you and your child. It saves careers, it saves marriages by investing in a sleep package that actually does create successful results for you, your family, and your child. And that's what we want. Sleep has such a detrimental effect if you aren't getting enough. There's development, your child's brain development, their ability to function, your ability to function during the day. Your work suffers, your relationships suffer. So let's get this sorted for you. Let's get this sorted for your child, and let's create a really great bespoke sleep package that reaches those goals that you really want. Get in touch today, and I'm more than happy to go through some bespoke ideas, hints and tips and packages that are available. So help is on its way. So as a parent or carer, you will need to do a deep dive to reveal sort of a more in-depth analysis of your child's traits and personality. It does take a bit more time and effort, trust me, but the results will be so much more successful in the long term for sleep. But on the other hand, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help solve those mysteries around sleep. I create the perfect sleep plan for your child and get those results the internet and general advice just can't give you. So it is worth putting the investment in now to guarantee successful results in the future. We're looking at long-term results. We're looking at getting you your evenings back. We're looking at getting you a decent night's sleep without all those waking nights. We're looking at reducing that bedtime routine. You might be spending 2 hours up there trying to get your child to sleep, and really comfortably, it shouldn't be more than half an hour. So we're looking at all those things, and that's where I come in and can help with and can solve those problems that you are currently facing and battling on a day-to-day basis. It is something we can resolve. It really is. So again, if you would like to have a chat with me about an individual package for your child, or you would like a free discovery call, or that you've got my email address on the front of here as well, please, any questions, feel free to get in touch any way possible. I've got my phone number on there as well if you want a quick phone call. But yeah, absolutely, just get in touch. I will help wherever I can. I hope this has been useful for you. I really hope it's given you a few hints and tips on what you can do immediately to start helping your child sleep better. And I'm here if you need me for future.